experimental film, I was very keen on trying a music video style video, experimenting with editing and cinematography. To experiment with editing, I was very keen to try rotoscoping, which is something I'd seen being done before, and I'd heard it mentioned in a lecture at the very start of the year. And I was really keen to try it, as it can sort of make something very simple look kind of trippy and very different. So I was intending in my video to do a combination between Muramasa's like aesthetic, visually pleasing music videos to a music video which I'd seen before, Sunny Woods, Feel the Wave, which within the video they use rotoscoping, and I think it works really well, and I was keen to try and do that myself. Also, cinematography wise, I was keen to try and I really like shots which are sort of portrait shots filmed on a zoom lens. It's just something which I feel looks really good. So I was wanting to experiment with that as well, try and do a lot of shots within sort of a sunset, using the silhouette as sort of a base for me to do my rotoscoping. However, when I was filming, I sort of came across the problem that I didn't have a tripod, and therefore a lot of the shots that I was doing actually on the zoom lens are very shaky as I was handheld, which is very frustrating, as I feel it's ruined a lot of the shots, which could otherwise have been I would have been very happy with. But I mean, it's a learning curve. I know now if I am going to do anything with a zoom lens, then I definitely have to have a tripod to make sure the shots are stable, or a stabilizer of some sort. So the music I was using for my experimental film was actually one of my friend's own songs that he produced, and the build-up of the song is very slow and gradual and ambient, and I thought it would be perfectly fitting for the build-up of my video to actually be sort of give a dreamy feeling. So I was using the sunsets and the beautiful coloured skies to sort of give that feeling, which I think work well. One of the shots in the build-up of my video is a sort of silhouette of a head with the sunset in the background, and I had the idea that I was going to mask his head and sort of put something else within the silhouette. So when it came to editing, I was sat down for hours, rotoscoping frame by frame his head, trying to get it perfect, and I must have gotten about 3/4 of the way through doing it, and it just completely glitched out, and all of the sort of points that I'd spent hours putting around his head had gone all over the place, and it applied it to my entire video, and the whole thing had just gone completely wrong, which was really frustrating as I'd spent so much time on it. But at the same time, I mean, it's practice at the end of the day, and everyone has said to me rotoscoping is very time consuming and can be very frustrating, and I sort of took it all by a pinch of salt. But at the end of the day, that is what experimenting is for. I've learned something now. So after my original idea of rotoscoping had failed, I thought I have to actually do it somewhere, otherwise it's a complete failure. So that's where I did the Canary Wharf skyscraper shot with sort of another shot of a beach sunset masked over where the sky should be, and I feel like that worked well. It adds something different to what was otherwise a very plain shot. So the final thing I experimented with editing is a drawn effect. I'd seen it used before in a lot of music videos, and it was something which I thought was pretty cool, and added something a little bit different to a video. So towards the end of my video, I tried doing it a little bit. It worked well. There's a shot where Morgan lifts up his hand and does an L shape, and his producer name is Levy, so I used that as an opportunity to draw on Levy around his hand, which I feel worked really well. And yeah, I feel it does add something different. It just makes the shots a little bit more interesting than they were before, and it's pretty easy to do as well, so it's something which I had fun experimenting with. Overall, over the course of my experimental film, the things I was experimenting with, a lot of it went wrong. Some of it went well, but I mean, the whole point of an experiment is that something is going to go wrong and that you do learn from it. So I'm glad I tried what I did, and yeah, it's something I can definitely use in the future. And rotoscoping is something I'm very keen to try again. I haven't been put off by it, but yeah.